Gather around. It's time for the show to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is...
Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
All right, there were so many matches this year that were just too much.
So this won't be a shocker because we've had a handful of really awesome matches that we just can't stop talking about.
How many times have these guys fought? Like it's been quite a bit.
I've been saying this all year. They're just so great to watch. We saw the heel turn coming, and then when it happened, nice and bloody, both dramatic and beautiful.
You are now entering the ring with Chutes and Ladders podcast. Here are your hosts, Desiree and Jason.
Chutes and Ladders, Drew McIntyre. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
A man once labeled the chosen one, a man who hit rock bottom, rebuilt himself around the world, and came back to be WWE world champion and locker room leader. We're talking about Drew McIntyre. What are your initial thoughts, Des?
Well, I am a big fan of Drew. Knowing that a lot of the wrestling community can't stand him, that just means he does a fantastic job as being a heel, and I can appreciate a bad boy. So, you know what? He is someone who's completely rebranded himself and, had a second chance. And I respect that. I love it. And I think he definitely deserves a spotlight with what he's been doing lately.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And he's definitely in main event matches all the time, which speaks of how far he's become. So let's dive into his early career. Drew debuted WWE with massive expectations. He was labeled the chosen one by Vince McMahon. At first, it looked like the future was set, but things didn't go quite according to plan. Eventually, Drew found himself in 3MB, a comedic rock and roll faction that had many fans saw a huge step down from his original hype. Des, take us back early on. When you think about the chosen one era and 3MB days, what did you see in Drew back then?
Well, Vince may have deemed him as the chosen one, but we didn't choose him. When Vince has his eye on people and those are like his golden boys, he tries to push them as hard as possible. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, it kind of fell flat. I just felt like he was pushed and we were pushing back saying, not yet, we don't want it right now. And, because something's a little off. And Drew, there was nothing really wrong with him. He just didn't fully evolve as a character. And, he won some titles. He had the IC title. He had a tag team title with Cody. And then, and then 3MB, that was just a little off. So... and then if you look at him physically, he was okay. He's a taller man. He's always going to be bigger, but he didn't have the muscle mass. He didn't have the beard. And what a difference that kind of makes. So, this baby face, Scott, that just was just lacking a little bit. So he just needed time. So, at that time, he was okay, just not great.
Yeah, I'm with you. He was basically as mediocre as you can possibly get. I will say also, part of me also thinks if you're going to push someone like that, I think the best way to do it is to do it in slow increments. So sometimes when you give anybody that type of hype and they don't fulfill that hype, a lot of that has to do with expectations. So I kind of think a little bit was on creative side as well.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, now let's talk about his release and reinvention, the indie run. In 2014, Drew was released from WWE. For many wrestlers, that's the end of the story. For Drew, it became a beginning of a transformation. He reinvented himself on the independent scene and across promotions worldwide, becoming Drew Galloway and rebuilding his reputation as a dominant force. This was a period where he rebuilt his confidence in his body and his identity as a top star. Des, this might be the most important chapter of Drew's story. What impressed you most about the way Drew reinvented himself outside of WWE?
It's like he learned to elevate himself. Like he knew that he had a little bit of something, but he had to try a little bit harder. And so what I appreciate is like you mentioned, some people, once they're released, they think they're done and they just hang up the boots and say, you know what, I had a good run. I was signed to WWE. I did it. He felt like there was more. He was still young, so he worked his ass off in the Indies. He went back to Europe, had a run there. He was in TNA. He was also in Evolve. He ended up being a champion for all of these promotions, built up his brand, and put on a good 50 pounds of muscle mass and grew some facial hair. And who would have thought that would have made a difference? But it does. He ended up being the prototype wrestler that you want. And I feel like that's what Vince originally saw in him years ago. And then he actually became the man. And, and that's what caught the attention in 2017 back with WWE. He signed with NXT again. And, and look at him now. So I just feel like he needed time to figure out who he was and just put a little bit of work into it. And he's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And that actually leads to his return and redemption. When Drew returned to WWE, he was not the same guy who left. He was bigger, meaner, sharper. Eventually, that journey led to the ultimate moment, winning the championship at WrestleMania 36. Mm-hmm. Even though it happened in an empty arena, it solidified Drew as a true main event star. Des, when Drew finally reached the top and won the WWE title, did it feel like the perfect redemption moment for his career?
Absolutely. Because when you see these people re-sign back with WWE and they start back with NXT, because he won the NXT championship, a year later got called up to Raw and immediately turned heel. And that does it. And he won other things as well. He won Rumble and eliminated Roman. He was a pandemic champion. He beat Brock Lesnar. He's had a lot of accomplishments, and I feel like this was his redemption from himself from 10 years ago. And I can honestly say he is one of the best stories of a second chance. And we covered him in our previous episode, From Fired to Fire. And everything that he's earned, even today, everything was earned for him. Quality matches. He's just so good. He just gets better every year.
Yeah, and listen, I will say, when he eliminated Brock at the Rumble, the crowd absolutely erupted, and I think that was the real turning point of, hey, look, this guy's going to be the guy. It really did suck that he won in an empty arena, because that should have been his moment, but nonetheless, it elevated Drew to new heights. So yeah, he was a pandemic champion. That is not easy, but he pulled it off, and I'm so glad that he's still main eventing right now.
Yeah.
All right, and now let's talk about his character evolution from the arrogant prodigy, the comedic band member, the unstoppable warrior, the proud Scottish champion, and now a more complex, intense competitor. Each version has added layers to her story. Des, when you look at Drew's character today compared to when he first debuted, what version of Drew do you think works best?
Let me say, I love heels, and I feel like he is the perfect makeup of one. Him being a baby face or just being soft and being like the chosen boy, that works for some people like Cody, but someone rugged and aggressive, I love that, and they feed off of that. But what I love is he's funny, he's very creative, and he's so good on the mic. I love that he's had so many feuds with everybody at the same time, which I think is hilarious. Like, he's had who's he had rivalries with? Seth, Roman, Punk, Randy Orton, Jacob Fatu, everybody. I love a well-rounded asshole. And he just, every year he becomes more aggressive. And I love it. And you know what? It's too bad that they took the championship off of him right now before Mania, but you know what? He's still going to have a killer match and a killer run.
Yeah, no doubt. You mentioned some of his top rivalries. Now let's talk about his favorite matches and moments. I mean, you talk about winning the Rumble in 2020, eliminating Brock, winning the title, his brutal battles with Sheamus, his clash with Gunther. Out of Drew's entire career, what's your favorite Drew McIntyre match or moment?
You know what? There was a couple. Brock is always going to be up there because very few can, compete with Brock. But that was amazing. That was his big championship win. Another one that always stood out to me was Clash of the Castle in 2022 against Roman, and it was just because they were in the UK. He was in his home turf. The crowd popped for him, and I loved seeing them two together go at it. Two major pieces of WWE. So that always sticks out to me.
Yeah, I was going to say Brock, just because, just like you said, I mean, very few actually get the win over Brock. Yeah. The fact that he eliminated him at Rumble and then went on to for the title, that just speaks volumes. So I definitely think that stands out to me the most.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's talk about legacy and impact, the modern comeback story. Drew McIntyre represents something rare in wrestling. A superstar who was labeled the future, lost everything, rebuilt himself from scratch, came back stronger than ever. His story has become a blueprint for redemption in wrestling. Des, when it's all said and done, what do you think Drew McIntyre's legacy in WWE will be?
We'll say it again. It's the modern comeback story. He took a fail and turned it into a success story. He made himself better. And look at him now. He is all over everything. He's on ESPN. He's on Netflix. He is doing commercials with Tiffany Stratton. It's you love to hate him. And you know what? I feel like he's just got more years to come of success, and he's just getting better and better. So I love this man.
All right, and I'm going to come at you with a Claymore quick shots. No thinking. We're going to do a couple of these. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Drew's best finisher, Claymore or Future Shock?
Claymore.
Drew's best rival?
Sheamus.
Ooh, good one. Okay.
Yeah.
Drew's best era, Chosen One, Scottish Warrior Champion, or present-day Drew?
Present.
Love it. One superstar that you still want to see Drew have a feud with?
It's still coming. It's not finished, but I want to see him and Jacob Fatu just go crazy and feral in the ring.
I love it. These are all great answers. You came at it quick. I love it.
I panicked internally.
All right, and this actually leads to our final thoughts. Drew McIntyre's story shows that sometimes failure is just part of the path to greatness. Des, what are your final thoughts?
I love him. I hope he still continues with being one of the most loved assholes of WWE because he is so fantastic at it. And, he's got so many more belts to have, more of a reign. So I'm excited for him. I hope he's got another 10 years in him.
Awesome. All right, well, that actually wraps up this episode. What are your thoughts on Drew McIntyre? Please shoot us a DM at the Shoots and Ladders. Like always, please like, share, and subscribe, both on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
All right, until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week.
Have a great week. Bye, friends.
This has been Shoots and Ladders. Follow us for more content.